I still remember the smirk she wore that night, short, slow, deliberate, a blade disguised as a smile. She slid a sheet of paper across the polished oak table with the same grace you'd used to hand someone a death sentence. "You have two options," she said, her voice smooth with quiet arrogance. "Accept my new rules or move out." Neatly tied commandments stared back at me, cold, clinical, each one a shackle, each one designed to chip away at who I was. No negotiation, no softness. She didn't even blink. She didn't need to. She thought she'd already won. But I've never been fond of ultimatums. She gave me two options. I chose a third, the one she never saw coming. They say you never notice the rat until the walls collapse. That's a lie. I saw the cracks long before that night. I just chose not to look too closely. That's what love does. It blurs the lines, makes red flags look like quirks, turns gaslight into candlelight. When I first met Sarah, she felt like a fire in the cold, warm, bright, magnetic. She smiled into the hollow parts of my life and filled the silence with laughter. I thought I had found my partner, my equal, someone who'd walk beside me. What I didn't realize then was that she wasn't walking beside me. She was steering, quietly, cleverly. My friends began to drift away one by one, their visits growing infrequent until they stopped altogether. My choices, once mine alone, began passing through her filter. Her suggestions became directives. My ambitions faded into background noise, a shell behind her aspirations. By the time I noticed the shift, I was already deep in her cage, golden bars, polite tones, and a leash disguised as love. Then came the list. Rule 1. You do not question my financial decisions. Rule 2. Weekly performance reviews, your role as a husband. Rule 3. No unapproved outings with male friends. On and on it went, rules. Everyone a slow eraser. Me, I read them once. That was enough. I memorized every word and every wound they carried. She thought I would bend, thought I'd break quietly, pick the lesser evil and call it compromise. But I chose differently. I didn't rage. I didn't argue. I played the game she thought she'd already won. I became the mad husband, silent, compliant, agreeable. I signed the paper with a hand that trembled, not from fear, but from anticipation. The next morning, I created my own rule. Just one. Rule 26. Tied, printed, and framed like a piece of art. All rules are void if infidelity is proven by documented evidence. She left when she saw it. Rolled her eyes. "Mark me, it won't matter," she said. But there was a flicker in her gaze, barely noticeable. The first crack in the porcelain mask. I waited. She was arrogant. That was her flaw. She never thought I'd look. Left passwords scribbled in notebooks, touched receipts without thinking, saved contact names and in work that didn't match the hours she claimed to be working. She assumed my silence was submission. But I was watching, learning, preparing. I installed a GPS tracker in her car's dashboard. Collected screenshots of texts she thought were deleted. Monitored the bank account she didn't know I could access. Trips, dinners, hotels that never made it into her stories. It wasn't about the viewers anymore. It was about precision. About checkmate. 6 weeks. 6 excruciating weeks of swallowing the bile that rose every time she kissed me goodnight. Every time she told me she loved me. I nodded, smiled, played the part while my soul stood by with its fists clenched. Then came the night. She walked through the front door, keys jingling, perfume thick with someone else's skin. I was already at the dining table, laptop open, files loaded, surveillance footage paused at the perfect moment. her lids on his, her hands around his neck, the hotel logo shining in the background. She froze. Then came the storm, tease, excuses, blame, accusations. You violated my privacy. You're just insecure. It was emotional, not physical. I didn't blink. Just tilted my head to the wall behind me. There hung Rule 26, framed and waiting. Her world collapsed in that one moment. Not with yelling, not with violence, but with a quiet, undeniable truth. All 25 of her rules voided. Her entire system of control shattered. She screamed, bargained, cried. But the trap had long since snapped shut. 2 weeks earlier, I had met with a lawyer, one who specialized in divorces involving infidelity. With the evidence I provided and that she had insisted on, I walked into court with a sword forged from her own arrogance. The assets stood in my favor. The house became mine. The leverage she thought she had disappeared like mist and a rising sun. And her smirk, that condescending smirk that once cut like a knife, vanished, replaced by panic, by desperation, by the silence of a queen who just realized she'd been playing checkers while the king was playing chess. I left that night, left the ruins of her empire behind me. I didn't gloat. Yes, calm, patient, and when the time is right, it strikes with silence. Didn't send long messages or write bitter posts. I let the legal letter speak. Let the cold ink of justice spell out everything she once thought she controlled. She lost not because I overpowered her. She lost because she never understood the truth about control. It only works if the other person doesn't realize they can walk away. And I did. Not loudly, not angrily, but completely. I don't believe in fairy tales. I don't believe in happy endings. I believe in justice. And justice doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't even raise its voice. Justice just waits.